We were headed towards the holidays and, where all the adult kids would be around more. And we had planned, we're like, we need to sit down and have a talk with them. And literally a few days later, on cam, doing a cam show, and get a text from our daughter who said, I need to talk to you immediately. And I thought, oh, this sounds kind of weird. I finish up my show and I walk out in the hall and she's on speaker and I hear the word Pornhub. And I'm like, holy shit, this is it. It's out. I already know this. So go downstairs. And sure enough, a childhood friend of the kids who was now in his, mid-20s. And apparently he screenshot this banner ad, and texted it to all of the kids. We hung up with her and then turned around, called all the kids and said, yeah, I heard you got a text. Just want to confirm it's true. We were planning to tell you, blah, blah. But my son and his wife chose to disown us. But also, I'm 56 now, and nobody's going to tell me what I can do. It's kind of my time now.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
I've told you about My One condoms and their 52 sizes. Now, I want to tell you about their newest innovation, One Flex. One Flex uses graphene to make ultra-thin condoms that increase body heat transfer for that true skin-on-skin feel. The only thing better than sex is flex sex. Use code MANWHORE at onecondoms.com for 20% off your purchase. That's ONE condoms.com, promo code MANWHORE. Beducated is the masterclass for all things sex. Get better in bed and feel more confident by clicking the link at the top of the show notes or use promo code MANWHORE at beducated.com. It's like educated, but with a B at the front, so you know how to tickle the B on the back.
Welcome to the Man-Whore Podcast.
Happy Halloween, whores. I dressed up as the ultimate man whore, Billy Sr. This is Billy Procida Jr., and you are listening to the Man-Whore Podcast. Yeah, I went to my sister's Halloween party on Saturday, and I dressed as Billy Sr. Really, it was an outfit just for my sister. No one else knows who the fuck I was. Everyone's like, what are you? I had to say, it's not really important. All that's important is that Morgan recognizes this t-shirt and is like, oh, wait, this is like 1998 Billy Sr. I remember that guy. I even shaved clean for that one. And happy birthday to Momo, who my sister, who is she's a Halloween baby. So I guess happy belated. But hey, welcome to the show if you're new. Welcome back if you're not. I'm here bringing you sex-positive conversations every Wednesday for the last almost 10 years. If you're unfamiliar with the show, if you're unaware, this show started almost a decade ago with me interviewing my exes about why we didn't work out. I've got another one in the pipeline for later this month. Hey. But now I talk to porn stars, comedians, dating experts, sex educators, musical acts, authors, and more about sex, dating, love, gender. And this week I have got on porn performer and panty seller RubyLynne. She's the host of the Granny Panties podcast, and she's got a new book out about making a fortune on selling her used panties. And I can't wait to bring that conversation to you in just a little bit. I promise a little bit that this week's intro is going to be short. I am tired. I keep finding myself in these like group sexy situations, and I'm just kind of like, what time? It's 1 a.m. I kind of want to go to bed. You know what I need? I need afternoon orgying. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe, Billy, you got to accept like where your sex drive is at and like what you want emotionally in this world. And yeah, like maybe your cock is craving more of a connection. And you should kind of just hold out until you meet someone special. And then maybe you'll be ready to connect and be intimate, which will probably lead back to all the group sex because that is really fun. But maybe you just want to indulge in that with someone who you trust emotionally because you're left reeling from the empty hole in your heart after such a momentous relationship last year. Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. I'm adjusting, people. I'm adjusting. Maybe it's finally time to bring on the pegging. Maybe that's what I'm waiting for. Maybe that's what I need. Real quickly, everyone, I want to do a fan whore appreciation moment. This is the part of the podcast where I like to give a shout out to members of the fan whore community on Patreon. In this economy, it's very important to support independent content creators. Big media institutions may be crashing and burning all around us, but the reason your favorite indies are able to keep going is because of our support from you, the listener. And that's why I'm giving a big shout out right now to Euclid Williams. Hey, man. Always love seeing you at the Naked Comedy Show, and I was so happy to see you joining the Patreon community. Welcome to Fan Whore Nation. And I want to say a thank you to Jeff, who just goes by Jeff. And I don't really know who you are, but I have a feeling you know who you are. And I hope there's a little smile on your face when you see that $2 plus tax debited from your bank account each month. You're like, I did some good with that, though. Yes, you did, Jeff. Yes, you did. I thank you for it. Thanks for supporting the podcast. Thanks for supporting me with not just your downloads, but your dollars. And you too can become a member, enjoy a slew of great rewards, and help me buy a slice of pizza today. Inflation, it's crazy. At patreon.com/manwhorepodcast, or you can download the Patreon app and find me on there. And the next hot movie night is going to be next Thursday, November 9th. So put it down in your calendars, join the Patreon, join us in the Discord server ahead of that, and come watch porn with us. Shout out to hotmovies.com, promo code manwhore. I think that still works. RubyLynne is on the show this week, everybody. She's an older lady who sells her panties, swings with her man, and makes some porn. I think we can love all of those things, right? We like making money. We like getting laid. We like porn. This one goes out to all the new divorcees who find themselves super horny all of a sudden in their late 30s, in their 40s. This one goes out to all the women over 50 who still want to feel sexy because, God damn it, you are. Sometimes you just need to, put on some lingerie and get a ring light set up to really see it. This show is for you. So we're going to pay some bills real quick and then have a chat with RubyLynne. The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by One Flex Condoms, the first ever condom made with the wonder material graphene. Graphene is not a material you read from the Marvel comic books. It's not adamantium, but it might as well be because it's the strongest and thinnest material on the earth. The heat transfer aspect is amazing. It really does feel like there's nothing there. So if you want sex with a condom so good you're constantly reaching back to feel like, is he still wearing it? You want to get the One Flex condoms. They're available in select Walgreens stores nationwide, but you can also get 20% off your purchase when you go to onecondoms.com/manwhore and use the promo code manwhore. Again, One Flex is the ultra thin condom increasing body heat transfer to provide that true skin on skin feel. And you can get 20% off your order at onecondoms.com/manwhore and use the promo code manwhore. Hey, link gonna be in the show notes. Go check it out over there. The Man Whore Podcast is brought to you by Beducated.com, the masterclass platform for all things adult sex ed. Anything you need to improve your sex and dating life is available at Beducated.com, and they're always adding new classes. For years, I've been telling you how much I love Beducated because of the video courses showing you how to do the real thing on real people. But not all of sex is about fingering techniques and athletic positions, okay? It also has to do with what goes on between your ears, up in your headspace. You got to get mentally right if you want to get sexually right. And Beducated has courses just for that too. Right now, look, last week we were talking about what Billy's been going through and what I'm working on, right? So I'm taking a look and they've got a sex drive mismatch course and how to navigate those desire differences. They've got several courses about redefining erectile dysfunction. And hey, I think a lot of people could use this one. They have a whole class, The Art of Saying No and Hearing a No. And yes, if you're trying to learn how to have strap-on sex, they got courses for that too. So I don't know what you're waiting for. Maybe you were waiting for a deal. Well, then good, because I've got one for you. Beducated is offering 50% off an annual membership when you click the link in the show notes or use promo code manwhore at beducated.com. Beducated comes with a 14-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't think you're learning anything in the first 2 weeks, get your money back. But I know that once you get there, you're going to just be like, here, take the other 50%. You deserve it, Beducated. So one more time, get 50% off an annual pass when you click the link in the notes. Beducated. It's like educated, but with a B. Because, bedroom stuff.
What I love the most about the podcast is just really finding out about their story and how they've evolved, especially if I'm interviewing someone who was an iconic star from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, just how the industry has evolved for them and, whether or not they liked it better then or do they like where it's ended up now.
Yeah. What are you finding?
I am finding that most of the creators and stars from that era really liked it better then because they liked being on set. They liked the connection, the flirtatiousness with their, co-stars, and versus now it's very contractual. So even though it was contractual back then to them, there was just more emotion and passion into it than there is now.
It feels like people are being a little too efficient these days.
Right. It's a contract. You get in, you get down, you get out, Is that
how you do things?
I would say that my collabs do tend to be more contractual.
Okay.
Because I treat this as a business. And yeah, I mean, we have releases and forms and 2257s. So it's very narrowed down to what your scene is going to be rather than just walking in and gonzo.
Sure. But talking to so many, people who were in the biz so long ago and hearing them say they miss that connection and flirtation and you take it, the other way. So how do you feel when you hear these stars share that that's the thing they miss?
I think that they're right because when I watch movies from those eras, it does seem like they're having a lot more fun, versus they're acting for the camera. And I'm not saying one or the other is bad, but I think I would have loved to have been in that era.
Well, then why don't you take that into your current collabs?
And I actually am. It's funny you mentioned that. About to head out to Exotica, and I have 11 scenes booked to shoot with people, and I would say over half of them are more sensual and flirtatious scenes rather than gonzo, just getting in there.
And how do you arrange that with them?
It's communication.
Do you say hey, I want to be flirty for the next whatever few weeks until we shoot? Can we send some text to each other, or how do you make that happen?
How I've made that happen is really finding out information from them and what their style and what's their personality. And I also do research on every creator before I even commit to booking a scene with them. And so I will get an idea for kind of what their style is. And so it's really about getting as much information about that other creator as you can, because you're not going to ask a person that only does gonzo scenes, or hardcore scenes to do a soft and sensual scene because it's just not their style. So it's not going to seem natural.
But even something more hardcore, is there any element of I wish I had a little bit of flirtation going on, so that way when we do this hardcore fuck scene, it feels a little bit more like this is like a hardcore fuck I would maybe have if there wasn't a camera here.
Yeah. I mean, I actually have one creator I've shot with twice before, also going to shoot with him and his partner while we're out at Exotica. And he is able to switch it back and forth. And so, again, just talking with them about, hey, what do you think? What are your ideas? And coming together.
Okay. Well, it's a good time to say I'm here right now with RubyLynne, host of the Granny Panties podcast, and you've got a new book out. We got it right here. Granny Panties: How I Made a Fortune Selling My Worn Undies. RubyLynne, thanks, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to be literally in bed with you right now.
Right. And you're on my side of the bed, so yes. That's good.
Oh, we are very clothed, but we are both technically, I am in bed with RubyLynne. If you're listening and you're jealous, my pants are on though. You should know. But you know, that is something where it's like I don't know if like maybe that like adds that chemistry adds to the content itself.
Definitely agree that the people that you actually have a connection with. I actually shot a scene with a fellow podcaster who had never shot in the industry before. Dick Dangle. He has Danglin' After Dark podcast.
Okay.
And we had met a couple years ago at an Exotica, and I was definitely attracted to him. He's a redhead and I have a thing for gingers. So, just over that like year and a half, couple years of, kind of a little flirty text and friendship developed. And for AVN last year, I reached out to him because I actually thought he shot content. I once saw him post that he had gotten tested. Well, I soon found out he had never shot. He had gotten tested before and anything had fell through. And so I'm like, well, then shoot with me. And so we actually did this scene. And I think because of the flirty nature and attracted to each other, that scene was amazing. After it was edited was almost 40 minutes.
So there's like a little bit of flirtation. There's a little bit of like, oh, this person's cute. And you reach out. How'd you negotiate what you were going to do? Or did you decide to do a little bit more freestyle?
So he gave me complete license because he had no experience in shooting to kind of come up with the scene. But again, I knew what his personality and his style. He's a teddy bear and he's sweet. And so hardcore isn't going to be his thing. Right. And so we did a scene where sounds like
my kind of guy.
Yeah. The storyline.
Podcaster, not hardcore.
Yeah.
Tell me what to do on camera, please.
Yeah. And
into older women.
That's right.
Amazing.
And so we kind of came up with the scene where we were at a podcasting convention. So it was actually not that far off from what we do in real life. And yeah, it turned out really fun. And it started off that he was interviewing me sitting in my room, just like you are now.
Oh, well, this could be the beginning of something special.
There everybody.
You go. Drop us a line in the Discord server if y'all are curious to hear about more. So we were talking outside, you got into all this like content creation right before COVID. And is this something that everyone was like, oh, COVID dropped. Now, how can I make money? And y'all just happened to just start it. Like what you said, February 2020 was like in earnest. Yep. You started making content.
Yep.
What was it like? Like you put your pussy out on the internet and then a month later, the world kind of low key ended. What was that like?
So I got really lucky, I think. And COVID was good to me, good to us. We didn't think it was going to be, but yes, February 1st, it was like going to relaunch this panty selling business. I wanted money. My real motivation was money for travel because I want to do international travel. It's expensive. I was a social worker. My partner was a mechanic. We don't make very good money. So, started off doing the panties, really took it serious, treated it like a business from day one. And then the world shuts down like end of March or whatever. And I really thought, okay, here it goes. Like the universe is speaking to me. It's now going to fail again. But instead, it just blew up. Dudes were ordering panties. I was booked out like 6 weeks at a time for panty wear. They wanted videos. So there was the birth of content creation. And of course, all this time I'm working, 8 to 5 as a social worker. And then I started researching about where can I repurpose and sell these clips that I'm making for these guys and, clip store, and then got into live webcamming, and it just went crazy.
But what went into that decision to like, okay, I want to travel. We need side income. Some people buy a bunch of stuff in bulk and then sell it on Amazon. You were like, I could sell panties and I can webcam.
Right.
Why'd you pick that? And also, it might be a good time to say it's like you're of an age. You're in your 50s when you started doing this, and
absolutely, and
that's not normally I think what we think of as the like retirement income plan.
Right. I know, it's kind of crazy. Part of wanting to do the live webcam, a couple things. We've been in the swing lifestyle for 15 years, and the kink was to be watched. So what better way? They're going to watch me at home and they're paying me. Like, is this too good to be true? And I read this article one day. I was doing a bunch of research, and it said live webcam couples models make $10,000 a month part time. I'm like, hell yeah, sign me up. And so I started researching, and the rest is history.
I mean, tell us a little bit more, because I think we all see those ads, and frankly, when I see anything say like you can make $10,000 in some amount of period of time, I always think that that's a scam. But it sounds like you actually made that happen.
Yeah, it took a few sites to find the right home. Originally started camming on the site where we were selling our clips because they have a live cam feature, but soon found out that the older, it wasn't conducive for that site. That site, the girls who were younger and more voluptuous were making the money. So then jumped to Chatterbait, which has all different genres, ages, the whole thing, a lot more, I think, open. Did okay, but I also was following people who were webcam models. It's, because if you follow or you get that information from those that are making all that money, that's how you're going to get it. And so somebody I was following on YouTube said, this one campsite is untapped. Like the money is endless. And so that was a website called Strip Chat.
Okay.
So we popped on there one night and made more in 1 hour than we had in a whole month.
And there's no hesitation about going from what we would call like, quote unquote, like normal professional life to putting that out there, especially at your age.
Yeah, no, I had no qualms about it. I had no issues. I was very confident in my body, even though I am older. I have scars. I have, stretch marks in all those places. I've had kids, but the thing I found that was super refreshing for me as a woman was that there is a fan for everybody out there. I was shocked at how well we were received, or I was received. I was camming like on my lunch hour, and it really helped my self-confidence.
So had you not always been so rocking about your body before you started camming?
Oh, no. I was morbidly obese for most of my life. And then when I hit about 38, I lost a significant amount of weight. And, as you move into your 50s, some of that finds its way back to your hips and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, there was definitely times in my life I didn't really feel great about myself. But I think the camming really helped that. You'd think it would be the opposite, but it wasn't.
No, I totally connect with that. Again, scale is different, but like until I started selling nudes, like that's when I started becoming confident in, especially because I gained weight during COVID. And so I was in this like thicker body and I didn't really know how to be in it. Right. It's like, I don't know how to be sexy in this body. And then when I saw that, I just am sexy in this body too. Like, because there's like a monetary figure now to my body. And so like, and the deal I would give myself was like, okay, I can still hate my body if I want to, but I have to respect it because it's paying bills.
Right.
And so, I totally see it that way. Absolutely.
Yep.
I think it's the self-consciousness that would stop you from posting that type of content.
Right. Absolutely.
Do you remember a moment when you first were like, I'm a hot piece of ass?
I don't know about that. I don't know.
There wasn't like a set or a video that you shot where you looked and were like, hot damn.
I hate watching my own content.
Really?
Still, even to this day. Oh my gosh. To edit my own stuff is just like, can I just hurry up and get through this video?
Yeah.
But I'm still very self-critical. I think that's, natural. I think most of us are more critical of ourselves than other people. But I will tell you, the moment that I was like, holy shit, this is a business, was about the 3rd month in. And I was like, this could be a serious business. And it was at that point I started to plan my exit from social work.
Yeah. So, and what was that? What was that moment?
The money.
Yeah. Like, I mean, what did you see? Like, tell me more.
Holy cow. When you make in 1 month more than you are at your social work job that you have dual degrees for and all this, and I'm like, I'm having a hell of a lot more fun getting naked on the internet.
And we saw so many horror stories during 2020 of people with like, chicks with like a quote unquote normal day job, and then they get found out that they had this on the side, and then they lost that because I guess we have too many EMTs in the world.
Right.
So was there ever a concern about that, or you said 3 months in, you're like, I'm gonna get out anyway? Did anyone from home like find out?
Yes, and so I wouldn't say I had that fear they would find out, because I kind of believe that everything happens for a reason. And so I thought, well, if they do find out and I get fired, that's just going to catapult me into this full time sooner than I wanted.
Like, make sure we get the right press placement. This firing could be awesome.
Right. But luckily nobody ever found out. And we were outed. So I was well aware that once you put something on the internet, especially your naked body, that it's there forever, and that you will eventually get outed to whoever it is you don't want to know about this. And at that point in time, it was our adult kids. And in the fall of 2021, we were about to tell all our kids, because we were starting to travel a lot. I had this exit plan, 2022. I really wanted to quit social work. And we were headed towards the holidays, and, where all the adult kids would be around more. And we had planned, we're like, we need to sit down and have a talk with them. Not Christmas morning, mind you, but, at some point. And literally a few days later, on cam, doing a cam show, and get a text from our daughter who said, I need to talk to you immediately. And I thought, this sounds kind of weird. So, to make a long story short, got off cam.
Don't make the long story short. Make long story medium.
Oh, medium.
It's a podcast.
I thought, this doesn't sound right, So I was finishing up a private show, sent my partner downstairs to call. I finish up my show and I walk out in the hall, and she's on speaker, and I hear the word Pornhub, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is it. It's out. I already know this. So go downstairs. And sure enough, a childhood friend of the kids, who was now in his, mid-20s, had found a ad on Pornhub for a cam site that we were VIP ambassadors for at this point. And
that means like they use you like maybe in the advertisements?
Yes, yeah. And that we actually work for them as cam models and that kind of thing. Gotcha. So I was like, great. And apparently he screenshot this banner ad, and text it to all of the kids. What a nice guy, huh? So we hung up with her, and then turned around, called all the kids, and said, yeah, I heard you got a text. Just want to confirm it's true. We were planning to tell you, blah, blah, blah. And all out of the 5, all of them but one was supportive and like, we're not shocked. I mean, you guys have always been, pretty open about.
Do they know about your lifestyle?
We never told them, but I think they probably knew. But my son and his wife chose to disown us. There had been some tension with them a little bit in the past for different reasons, and they used this, as the camel, or the straw that broke the camel's back. And so we haven't seen our grandkids or them since 2021, about mid-2021. And I grieved it for a long time. And then actually I came to terms with it. And at the point in time where I could spin it, and I respect him, because he's standing in what he believes to be right and true. And basically that's what we taught our kids. If you believe in something, stand up for it. And so, in his head, he feels it's wrong, and he's standing his ground, and I can only respect him. That's how I raised him.
But I gotta imagine there's still some pain. There's gotta be pain there. Absolutely.
I mean, that will never go away. But also, I'm 56 now, and nobody's going to tell me what I can do. I've raised good humans. I've done what I should, and it's kind of my time now.
And that first phone call where you walk in and the daughter's on speaker, like how did that? Was that quick? And you were like, okay, I gotta hang up with you and call everyone else, or what was that call like?
It was more quick, I would say. She was the only one that had the balls enough to actually confront us. So yeah, it was pretty quick. It just kind of went downhill from there, though. Okay. I always felt bad for her because she was kind of in the middle because she was the most, I guess, brave one that would call. And so like, then I had a TikTok that, one of her cousins found out about and messages her. And so for a few weeks, I felt bad for her because it was like really hammered into her that, oh my God, your parents are doing
Everyone's got to be, did you hear? Did you? It's like, yes, I heard. Yes, I heard.
Yes.
Yes, I heard. Yes, I heard.
Yes. So it's better now, but yeah, that was a painful time. That was hard.
Well, we normally hear when it's a family doesn't approve. It's usually kind of a top down thing. We normally hear the parents and grandparents didn't approve of my lifestyle, my sexual orientation, what, the job I've chosen to do in porn, maybe cousins and stuff, or, an aunt and uncle. We don't normally hear kind of from the bottom up. We don't normally hear, hi, I'm coming out as doing porn and the kid gets upset or approves. We don't normally hear about that.
Right. And so, yeah, it was different. And I guess for me, one of the things is I want to let people our age know that you can heal from that. And, it's common. As I've talked to more people over the last couple of years, I'm really shocked at the amount of adult content creators whose families have disowned them. It's a lot.
Yeah.
More than the accepting, so very interesting.
And also at this stage in life, I had maybe it was a month or two ago, a listener who's like about your age or maybe a little younger, and she's she got also like adult kids, right, or newly adult kids, and her and her husband are in an open relationship, and they were like they came out to the kids, and they were really nervous about that. It's like, we're gonna tell our kids who are grown ass adults,
right,
but we're gonna go and tell them like, hi, your parents are with other people. I think part of it was like, well, what if they see us like on one of the apps, right? Because now, but so they came out to say like, hey, we're in an open relationship, and they were really nervous about that. They didn't know, because they're worried about the, what if
stigma.
they want to disown us? What if I lose my baby,
right,
over this? Just because they're 20 doesn't mean they're no longer your baby,
right.
But I'm glad you seem to found some peace with that, and I'm glad that most of the kids seem accepting of that. Does it come up in convo at Thanksgiving? Is it or is it kind of like, Mom, how's work? And everyone uses vague terminology around it.
It comes up a little bit. I think mostly when I travel a lot. Kind of like, okay, you're going to New York this week. You're in LA next week. Wait, you went to Miami. Where we don't even know where you're at. It's like, where in the world is Waldo? But where in the world is Ruby? But so sometimes it comes up. When I wrote my book, I did tell them that I had wrote a book and released it because I didn't want that to come up, in some conversation, again, like someone sees it or sees an ad for it. And it's like, oh, your mom wrote a book. Oh, she did? About what? Oh, dirty panties. And then be like, oh my God. How'd you raise the kids around sexuality? So very open-minded. I was the unique mom in our small community who kept the drawer full of condoms for the kids. And the reason is I didn't go to college till I was 41. And went to college, and I actually got 2 degrees from Portland State University. Go Vikings. So one was in public health with an emphasis on health education. And a second degree was in pre-med. And my minor was gender and sexualities. And I had always been an open-minded person despite being raised in an era that was very closed.
Why'd you take the minor? I'm not even saying for interest. At 41, you go to school. Like when you're 18, you go to school. I'm gonna take a major. I'll take a couple minors, whatever. At 41, I'd be like I'm trying to get the paper. Like what, I don't think of a 41-year-old as having a minor because I feel like the minor is this distraction and extra work they don't want to have to do. So, what was into that decision?
I'm never afraid of extra work. I just had developed a passion for like communicable disease, HIV, that kind of thing. And because of taking all the public health classes, they expose you to all different sides of public health. And that one just really fascinated me. I had an interest in it. I was in the swing lifestyle at that point. And so just anything evolving around sexual health, that kind of thing really drew me. And because Portland is so diverse, and I lived like 45 minutes out of Portland. I commuted in every day to go to school. I didn't live in a diverse community. And so the diversity of Portland, I was really, really drawn to that. And so one of the things, and you talk about how we raised them, one of the fun things during that time is I would come home and around the dinner table, the kids would be like, "What'd you learn in school today, Mom?" So that was kind of fun. And, I would take these sexual health classes and I'm like, well, today it was all the different words for a penis. So what are all the different words you guys know? And so I got them talking about it. I wanted them to be comfortable in their sexuality, in their bodies, to know that, this wasn't some taboo thing that happened. Mm-hmm. And so they were raised very open-minded.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it like that even before you went to school, or at that point were they just too young?
They were too young at that point. Yeah.
So when you're going to school, like they're in middle school and high school. So
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so, you got them having the conversations.
Exactly.
Okay. Did you ever have any, like particularly eventful moments of, Mom, what is this? Or Mom, I don't understand that.
Yeah. I remember one conversation, and of course these always happen around the dinner table because the kids are busy with sports and school. And
the fact that you got them all around a dinner table.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, but that was one of my rules. No phones, and you had to eat dinner. One day we had a class, and it was about communicable disease and different diseases and how you can pass different viruses, to the genitals, which you wouldn't even think about. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to keep this clean.
It's the Man Whore Podcast. You're welcome to speak freely.
So, one of the subjects was, if you have a wart on your finger and you finger a female, you can transfer it becomes genital warts at that point. And that is the information that our youth, our teens, it's that kind of stuff that they're not getting. They're not getting these educations, or parents aren't talking about it. So I wanted to break that cycle, and I'm like, we're going to talk about it. And so they'd be like, "What'd you learn in school today, Mom?" Let me tell you what I learned. If you do this act, this could result in, X could result in Y. Yeah. And so just that education, I wanted to be different in educating my kids.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like they're all healthy sexual beings in this world now?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is curious about the one son though who has such a negative reaction, like
big Trump supporters. So let's just say that. And so
that gives me a good idea.
Yeah. And I love them, and I will always love them, and my door is always open. So
yeah. You also mentioned a few times, like you and your partner are in the lifestyle, and you've been swinging for quite a while. How'd you get into that?
So that was me. That was all me.
It's like that was me in this very fun haircut. Obviously, it was me.
It was me. So I had come out of an abusive 15-year marriage back, in my late 30s, and very sexually repressed. Like, I always call my kids the immaculate conceptions, basically. But I have always been a very sexual person. And so when I got divorced, I really went on spring break for a couple years and tried new things and discovered these things that I'd only, heard or read or dreamed about.
I met a lot of you in college.
Yeah. My therapist once said that you were on spring break for 2 years. You were not bipolar. So I'm like, oh, thank God. Yeah. But I just experienced.
Was that a concern of yours?
That I was bipolar?
Yeah.
Yes.
That like all of a sudden I'm feeling super sexual and super free and want to do stuff. And like something must be wrong with me.
Yeah. Because then I'd have all these one night stands and I'd get really depressed. And,
Because I hear this a lot.
Yeah.
I think this is a very common thing for women in their like early 30s until whenever someone has their first divorce.
Yeah. Yeah, I went crazy. Yeah. And it was a very fun time. I would say maybe my like 2 best years of my life. But where were we?
We're saying how you got into the lifestyle.
Oh yeah, the lifestyle. So I tried some things, and I really figured out that I was not a monogamous person, that I enjoyed having different dynamics and different relationships with people.
What are some things you tried that led to that realization?
Like threesomes. I'd never had a threesome. Like
I like how you withheld threesome. You said, I tried things, and then I'm like, what? And you're like, a threesome.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh my, a threesome.
And a moresome and girls. Like, oh, I licked my first pussy and I liked it.
That's the remix coming up.
That's right. So when I found the partner, that I'm with now, I was like, there's a few boxes to check, and anybody I was dating, really, I would date them and like, okay, they have a house, they have a job, they have a car, all the basics. But then the last box was really, how do you feel about a threesome? And they'd be like, oh, I always wanted 2 women. And I'm like, no, I'm 2 guys in me. And
division of labor. Let's be smart about this, guys. By the way, stop going, I want 2 women. You can barely handle one.
Every guy wants 2 women, This is about me. Now we're talking about me. But yeah, that was one of my factors, was that I don't ever want to be cornered into a 100% monogamous relationship again. Mm-hmm. And so to this day, I'm E&M.
Yeah. And how did you communicate that when you met this fella?
I just basically, the question was, how do you feel about a threesome? I mean, because that kind of tiptoes you into, let's go have an orgy or something together. Yeah. But yeah, it was really just finding out what the reaction was. Because if they're like, ew, yuck, it's like, all right, see you later.
Okay.
Blocked.
What were some other boxes that had to be checked?
Do you have a job? That's good. Like, do you have an actual job? That was important to me. And, just some of the basics. Are they jealous? Like, jealousy had no place in my life. I had just experienced 15 years of not even being able to have a phone call after 4 p.m. because it could be somebody.
It's like you were dealing with jealousy and I'm not even fucking anyone else.
Exactly. And so I would put every guy I dated to a test about the jealousy thing. Like, we would go out to a club, and I had worked in the bar scene at that point in time a little bit. So I knew a lot of DJs and, bartenders and just people at the club. And so we go out, and I would basically just be I would just kind of leave them. I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go say hi to my friends and see how they would react. I mean, are they all pissed off and feeling butthurt, or were they like, yeah, go, I want to see you smile and have fun? And so that's really how I tested jealousy. It's
also interesting because like 15-ish years ago, so we're talking like an 07, 08 time period. Mm-hmm. Not in this is not language that was like around. Like, even if you don't like poly, a lot of people know what that is now. People, non-monogamy, they were like, I know what monogamy is.
Yes.
I don't know this non-word, right? Mm-hmm. This is not stuff people know about. I mean, like, are you reading up on this? Or are you just kind of communicating what you think all this stuff is? Like I felt the same way, same year. I just didn't have the language for it, is what I'm saying.
Well, I didn't either. I didn't even know what poly was. I didn't know the term E&M. Right. I just knew I didn't want to be stuck with the same person. If that happened and evolved, great. But I always wanted to have that, not escape, but that open door that, hey, if I want to go sleep with someone or I want to go on a date, that's there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also find it interesting to be, openly non-monogamous and in porn because, there's an element of, there's some porn people who like, they'll be like, I have a boyfriend, but we have to pretend I'm single because for the fans, right? Mm-hmm. They'll get upset if they know I have a boyfriend, but you have a partner, but you're also open relationship. And
right.
And for the first type of gal, it was, well, we want to keep the illusion open that like, maybe they have a chance with me. You have a partner. They still like, but that doesn't have to take away from that fantasy, because just because I have a partner doesn't mean I couldn't maybe bang you at a bar.
That's right.
And so like, how do you feel like being in an open relationship affects your relationship with your fans?
I think I haven't had any issues with it. Do
you get any more delusion maybe? Like, wait, there is a chance because yes, she had, but she's open.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely I get a ton of that all the time. Like, how can I make a scene with you? Okay. How can I see you? Blah, blah, blah. So I do get that a lot. But, who I am when I'm not working and who I am when I'm working are the same person. Mm. I've had people ask me that before, does Ruby turn off at 5 p.m. or 8 p.m. or whatever? And no, I am Ruby. I love having that ability to experience different people, different personalities, because no one person can give you everything you need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's also the thing in the content creation era. So forget the whole people being exclusive or not exclusive, pretending there's a person or not. I mean, now there's this era of, well, maybe I can make content with you too. How do I get to shoot a shit? Because now everyone thinks that they could be a dick for hire because now a lot of them know, well, technically I just have to fill out the paperwork, right?
Right. And, I did do a fuck a fan once.
Oh, how was that?
It was great. And he's ended up to be a really great friend, great person.
Okay. Well, then let's ask the question that apparently you've already been asked a lot is how does one who is a fan get to become a scene partner in theory?
So
big theory,
in
this
theory,
is like
theory.
Quantum physics. We're talking very theoretical, but like how this happened. So how does that go?
I tell every one of them, get in my top 1%.
Okay. So first it's like, you better be spending money on me.
Right. So being in my top 1% means you're subscribing to my OnlyFans and my fan pages. We're doing video chats. I'm making custom videos for you. Like, you are invested in me as a person and my content.
Right.
And so, I always say get in my top 1%.
That's just to get me to respond to your message. You better be up there.
Yeah. I mean, I respond to all of my fans on my fan site, but really, if you want the VIP treatment where I might see you naked in the same room. Yeah. And some dudes could be resentful on that, but like, what, you think you're going to get in on merit? Like, if you could get in on merit, you'd be doing this already. Like, you'd have a page and you'd have good stuff on there. That's interesting. So now wait, back with the swinging. Like, so you first you were like, I went off, had these one night stands. Okay, I met someone. I'm testing these dudes out. Okay, this one seems to pass some tests. And like, do you remember your first swinger party? Was it with him, or was it just you went off as a solo gal to a party? Yeah. So I have never done a house party, believe it or not. In all these years, have never went to a private house party. So all of my swinging has been done at clubs.
Okay.
Or, once you meet someone, maybe like hotel room or something, but never at a just generic party at a house.
Okay.
Never felt comfortable with that.
But what about, so you like the club atmosphere?
I do like the club atmosphere, especially for meeting people, for the first time. The reason I avoided house parties, I didn't want to have expectations put on me that because I came through the door and I was there that I was going to fuck somebody. And it's like at a club, it's a little more generic. So I think that expectations, because people go to a club for all different reasons.
We are talking about swinger clubs, right?
Yeah, swinger clubs.
Sure.
Swinger clubs. They might go there just to watch people. That's their kink, not to participate. And then there are those like me who want to be watched. So we can feed their need for that.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue that any house party where that type of expectation is there isn't that good of a play party. I think a good sex party, if it's at, someone's like big loft or house or whatever, the culture of it should be, you can come here and just have a great time at a house party.
Right.
Or you can fuck. And I think if you like, that's, I think the sign of a really good one where, you could go and just hang out with your slutty friends and do nothing and have a great time. I think that's a sign that that's a good party. Yeah.
And I think that feeling of being expected, that's on me. And so I've never been to a house party.
Okay. I mean, I hope that changes for you at some point when you find the right one that makes you feel comfortable.
The right group.
You ever need a hacienda invite, happy to extend it. Because the play party community I go to, like, that's how I feel. Like, it feels like it's a big house party.
That's cool.
Where, like, if you just want to dance and hang out and see some shit, cool. And if you want to play, you can play. But, there's some of these places where it's just one big room.
Yeah. And
it's like, if you're not fucking, then it feels like you stand out. Whereas in, like, there's go in the hot tub. We can go in the backyard and hang. We can go to the fuck room. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I did. Because, like, I don't like to have that pressure either.
Right.
I want to be able to go and hang. And if I click, it's a fun time. So what was your first swinger club experience like?
The first day I ever walked in to a club, so it had just newly opened in Portland. right when I was single and wanted to explore sex clubs, there was one that had been there forever and had just closed. And the owner or whoever of that was opening a brand new one. And ironically, it was Ron Jeremy's Club Cecil in Portland. Okay. And so we walk in the first day and we didn't do anything. We didn't even know what to expect, having never been to a club. And so really that first time was just observing. Like, what's the atmosphere? What's this like? And then I'm kind of voyeuristic myself. So that was a huge turn on, just to watch other people live. Like, this is a live porn film right in front of me.
Yeah. It's like I assume you've never seen people fuck that on purpose before, right?
No.
So you walk into this room, you see people fucking, like the first thought is like, this is real.
Wow, yeah, I couldn't believe it. There was this girl on the dance floor on her knees, and guys were just lining up, and she was servicing them. I'm like, what? What am I watching right here?
And what have I been missing out on all this time?
Right, exactly.
Right? Why'd I wait till, if I'm doing math correctly, like late 30s, early 40s to get into all this?
Yeah.
And then you also said you had eaten pussy during that like wild sim for the first time.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about that? Because again, this is we're in our late 30s. That's usually a little further past when people who've had curiosities have tried things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Had you been thinking about women? What was it like how did you finally approach? How did you connect? And what did it taste like that first time?
Yeah, right. So that was interesting. Again, I had a girl that I was going to college with at Portland State, and we were in a lot of the same classes. And
I assume a younger woman.
Yeah. So she was actually younger than I was. So I would say probably early 30s or something. And we discovered that her and her husband were swingers. But he never participated. He liked to watch his wife have sex with other people.
Okay.
Well, anyway, to make a long story, we talked about this, and then we end up at the club at the same night. And so I ended up going down on her. And that was one of my first experience, at the club wise.
Were you nervous
I was nervous because I'm like, I hope I know what I'm doing. Like, I've tasted some pussy before, but like never like a whole bunch of people watching me. So that was interesting.
Okay. And
it was good.
Did you get is she giving you feedback? Are you asking questions? Were you a natural?
I think I was a natural. I don't remember her talking much, just a lot of moaning.
That's a good sign. That's definitely a good sign.
But yeah. So that was interesting.
And what do you see? What's left on? Do you have a list? Do you have a bucket list? Do you have things you still want to try, experiment with, get up to? Yeah,
I mean, I've never had a real orgy.
Okay.
Or gangbang. Oh. So I've had an orgy. I would say that.
As I told you outside, I've written 2,400 words apparently on the
like subject. 8 people, but I had an 8 people dog pile, thing once.
That's an orgy. That's 100% an orgy.
Yeah. But the gangbang, no, I haven't. And actually, that's one of my biggest fantasies. Mm-hmm. But I figure, now I got to film it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, if you do finally do it, we got to make money off this. Might as well. Yeah.
So it's still, I figure, like, in a year or two, maybe I'll do that. I'll orchestrate that.
Now, because of the work I have to ask, and so when you say in a year or two, like, is that a personal feeling or is that kind of like a business decision? Just like when some girls go like, I gotta wait to do my first anal. You don't start with your first anal, right? It's like, you gotta reveal. Is that you saying, I think my career, that'll make sense then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're like, I really would love to do a gangbang tomorrow night, but I feel like it will be wiser if I wait.
Right.
Poor you.
Well, I might do it, but I'm not going to film it.
Good. Yeah.
But yeah, like my first anal scene I ever have, I'm going to wait for that because you're right. Like, what are you going to top after you have a gangbang and anal?
Yeah. My first loving, sensual, slow scene makeout. I want to see someone try to pull that off. As a big reveal.
And there's a producer, director, studio owner that his brand is only anal. And I've had him on my podcast and I told him, like, when I'm ready to do my big DP anal scene, I'll come shoot for you.
Okay. And because you shoot with your partner beyond the camming or only the camming.
So yeah, no, I shoot with my partner, but I also shoot with other
Right.
male and female creators.
How do you decide which sex is for you and which goes on camera?
There's not a lot of difference in that with, my regular partner. Because, like I said, I'm the same person day or night, in front of or behind the camera, either way.
Okay.
So sometimes it's just like, do I want to light the camera up or do I not?
All right. Well, I know you have a lot of scenes coming up while you're out here for Exotica, so I hope those are fun. I hope they're nice and fulfilling, and most importantly, good sellers, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm working with some creators I haven't ever worked with before, and I'm working with some that I have shot with. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited.
Fantastic. And tell us a little bit about, you got the book coming out, Granny Panties, How I Made a Fortune Selling My Worn Undies. Just tell us a little bit about the book and what people could expect from snagging it.
Yeah, so the book came out in September, and I wrote it. It's part memoir, part how-to, and part don't make the same mistakes I did.
Okay.
And so it just talks about how I got into the adult industry at age 53, that progression of selling the panties to shooting for a studio within a year of doing that. That was exciting. But really, I wanted it to help women and empower them that at any age, you can be sexy, that you're desirable. Dudes want your underwear and, anything else that goes along with it. And I had fun. I hope you laugh on some of the stuff that I, tried, exploring fetishes and that kind of thing.
And I'll ask one for you to reveal one thing from the book. You can share what's one mistake you made when you started.
Oh gosh, one mistake was charging too little for the panties, for the content, that kind of thing. I go back and my profile is still on the original panty site. I didn't ever take it down, and I look back then and I sold like threesome scene for like $10. I'm like, what? I sell that for 40 plus now. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely didn't charge enough in the beginning. So that was one mistake.
I would apply that to like all the sex work too, like anything. I have escort friends who there's been multiple women I've dated briefly where I had to tell them they need to charge more. Because frankly, if I'm gonna date a whore, I want to date a great whore. I want someone who's really good at it. I'm not going Lucy, you can't charge $200. You're too hot. You're too good. You gotta get. Now she charged $700 and sends me selfies with stacks of money. I'm
That's awesome.
Thank you for loving yourself. I was value yourself. Damn.
Right.
Me, I like to think I value myself just the right amount. My OnlyFans page is free.
That's funny. But yeah, that was a mistake I made. And other than that, it might just been different things, shipping, how to ship things, that kind of thing. And I do outline that all in the book of, what do you really need to start doing this and what can you do without?
Yeah. So. Well, RubyLynne, thanks so much for chatting with us. Where can people go to find you, follow you, get the book, and check out your podcast?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, you can go to RubyLynne Links. That's RubyLynne links.com. And you will find all things Ruby, the link to my VIP fan site. You can buy the book from that link.
Your socials.
All that. You got it.
Fantastic. Well, Ruby, thanks a lot for coming on, and I hope you have a great Exotica, and why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate everybody listening, and thanks for having me.
And I hope that big guy doesn't beat me up. Okay, no, he seems very nice. But he's good to have around if you want to scare somebody. The best place to share your thoughts on this week's show is in the episode discussion channel in the Champagne Room. A user recently posted wow, I always thought the Champagne Room, you had to pay to get in. No, the Champagne Room, totally free. The Champagne Room used to be a patron-only Facebook group, a secret Facebook group that you did have to pay to get in. But now we're on Discord, and it is completely free to join us in there. Introduce yourself today at manwhorepod.com/Discord or click the link, you know where it is, up in them schnotes. Get your 2 fingers just nice up in the schnotes. And, you know, whether you're in a dude's butt or a pussy, you curl the fingers a little bit, give a little tickle, and those schnotes start to feel really, really good. You can always share your comments, your questions, your criticisms, your titty pictures via email at manwhorepod@gmail.com. You may just hear your email on the show. I don't always plug it, but if you want a way to shop for books more ethically and support your favorite whore boy, bookshop.org is the place for you. It's bookshop.org/shop/Billy, or just click the link in the schnotes. But when you make a purchase from bookshop.org, they guarantee that it will come from an independent bookstore. And we love independent here at the Man Whore Podcast because the Man Whore Podcast is independent. And so when you buy at bookshop.org, you're supporting an indie bookstore. And then I get a little taste of that. And then you're also supporting an indie podcaster. And you're sticking it to Amazon in the process. Yeah. So that link, it's in the show notes. I've also got some lists already set up with books from all of the Man Whore Podcast guests you have heard. And of course, the most direct way you can support my work, the only way you can receive exclusive bonus content is on my Patreon. Become a member today. Support the pod you love at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Or you can download the Patreon app and you can find me on there. Now, I got to go check to see what that text message is about. I think it's from the New York Jets, you know, probably saying something about like, oh my God, we beat the Giants. Isn't that cool? And I'll be like, yeah, but like we got no O-line left. Everybody's injured. I'm taking these last 12 seconds of the show for me and my sports ball. If anyone's going to be at Monday Night Football at Jet Life Stadium, let me know. Maybe we can have a $31 beer together. Stay slutty.